Get ready, get set, and hold on. It's time. Well, wait. It's going to be one heck of a ride, folks. Isn't that what life is? It's one heck of a ride. The show is going to be no different. Welcome. It's the mouth of, and I'm your host, Paul-Gregory. And this is our show for today, Monday, start of a work week. Start of getting stuff all done, so come the weekend, you can enjoy the fruits of those labors. So these are the labors that you have to endure or perform. But anyway, today is Monday, September 15th, 2014. So, let's get the morning started. Let's get pumped up. Let's get the week going. Mr. America by Powdered Zombies. Wow. Still being quiet.
Mr.
There we go.
America, look what you've done.
Yeah, looking at the country is not what I intended. Gotta start to make a change before the never-ending story of a failed nation runs straight out of luck. Like $1 million Tyler Perry movies, you suck. All your little have-life, you still such a want more voting in your self-interest. Now instead of the core principles that made this country both honest and true. Free to speak, worship, pursuit of your happiness too. With all the money you fly, you gon' be needing a big freeze. Hate the size of the Fed, like Jesus hated the fig tree. As the spending goes up, you gotta borrow some more. Borrowing from the Chinese, like, oh my lord. Instead you just tax more, you're increasing the size of the federal government. Yeah, the Georgia surprise, you'll be done like Detroit. Man, no, you ain't coming back. Forget it, I'm out, I'm muzzle loading.
Mr. America, look what you've done. You trade your liberty and sovereignty for lies and promises. Mr. America, don't you run away. You pick up pieces up and face the problems, you'll be great again. I got tired of rolling over in my grave every day, making a monarchy of my beloved U.S. of A. Your little glitches need reminding of what we were before, and the sits that led us up to revolutionary war. High taxes to the throne without a voice of our own. Rule top down from the crime we wanted left alone. Oh, y'all so soft, you're taking it year after year. We were fighting red coats while we're brewing our beer. Now I'm drinking, spitting ciphers through a grill made of wood. That's how it all went down in G-Dub's neighborhood. Packing cabin balls like powder hammers with cock, lock, click, clack. The loss of backs, the attack, the chicken littles who don't know me, listen, don't let it twist. We kick the A's of the B's for much less than this. So don't deny the historical climbing out of the mud. Follow me, believe it's creed, plant the seeds and be free. America, look what you've done. You trade your liberty and sovereignty for lies and promises. Mr. America, don't you run away. You pick up pieces up and face the problems, you'll be great again.
On the warrants at 85 when it's really at 12. Hear me, classes in session, you can't be saved by the bell. What happens when you keep printing more dough? Both parties have gone green like the name was Al Gore. Yeah, but right now you're high. Hey, ain't you big hitter? But now I'm back from the dead. I'm bringing back all my knickers. What, knickers? No, it's okay. I can say knickers because I wear knickers. Man, you think I say that? What's wrong with you? I'm just talking about my show back then. I rock with my shoe. But let's go back to the first point I was trying to make. The degradation of our freedoms and a country at stake. The government's getting grand while private sector grows smaller. Pour one out for your homies, cause here comes the cold water. Unemployment still rising, our debt's growing still. The only change you're gonna get is being left with the bill.
Mr. America, look what you've done. You trade your liberty and sovereignty for lies and promises. Mr. America.
Well, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed your little musical interlude there. A little bit of Powdered Zombies, otherwise known as Steven Crowder and Chris Lash. And I am Paul-Gregory Matuszak, and this is the Mouth of Matuszak Show for today, Monday, September 15th, 2014. And, I have a whole bunch of stuff to talk about, folks. I'm just trying to figure out what to talk about first. It's got a busy show. Good show to be listening to, folks. Something to pay a little bit of attention to. For those who didn't catch it last week, on a Thursday, I did my September 11th tribute. And I think I was finally able to get the podcast posted over on YouTube, but I can't remember. But then on Friday, I also did a special, because on Saturday was the 200th anniversary of the Battle of Fort McHenry in Baltimore Harbor, which of course spawned the writing of the Star Spangled Banner. It was written that night, because on September 14th, 1814, Francis Scott Key fully thought that Fort McHenry may succumb to the barrage and bombardment and siege the British were laying against the fort. And when the sun came up in the morning, there was the U.S. flag still waving above the fort, and they held the fort. And of course, we eventually won the War of 1812. So that spawned the writing of a poem, which was then set to a drinking song, a pub song, the tune of that, which then in 1931 was voted to become our official national anthem. It had been like the unofficial one for a long time before that, but in 1931, I think it was 1931, I'll have to relook, I might be off by 100 years. But yeah, we did our special on Friday because of the events over the weekend. So if you didn't catch those, go ahead and you can catch those over the podcast over on YouTube, posted on my own website, as well as over at the Live 365 radio site. I have those carried over to another channel, not the one that you're currently hearing this broadcast on. Well, I don't know, you might be listening to it over there already. But the live broadcast goes on one channel, the replays go off over on another. So there you have it, folks. Kind of want to talk about, I normally don't get into too personal issues. I may ascribe some personal spins on some of the things I talk about, but I usually don't get personal. But my family had an interesting weekend. We had highs and lows all mixed together. And right now, those of you who are praying types, I may be asking you for some prayers here, if you feel so inclined. But last week, if you were listening to the show earlier in the week, you probably heard that I was a little bit worried about one of my pets. So I want to update you on that. But before I do that, there's a lot of background behind that particular pet, as well as other things going on here with my family. Because we had a trying weekend, and it all kind of culminated this morning. And it's still kind of, don't really have the word, folks, and which is, for me, unusual to not have words for something. Back in January, I wrote a little, you can call it an anecdote if you want. It's a true story. Slight embellishments for entertainment purposes. But it was titled, A Little Mouse and a Little Heartbreak. And I posted it over on my personal blog. It really wasn't a newsworthy thing. I think the editor-in-chief over at Brenner Brief at the time was trying to urge me to put it over there, but I didn't think we'd get enough hits, so I didn't bother. And plus, I kept it on my site because it's a personal story to me. But we have some interesting pets in my house. I'm not going to go over all the different pets we have. For one thing, it's really not everybody's business but ours. But we have a number of pets, and of course we do have the typical normal cats and dogs. Well, maybe not so normal, but we have cats and dogs. And we also like animals that are different from your mainstream ones. We have had for quite a while. My wife acquired it before we got married. In fact, before we were even living together. And that's a subject of its own anecdotes. But the free-range Texan had picked up a corn snake, a relatively small baby, in fact underdeveloped because it wasn't being cared for very well by its original owner. So it was a rescue of sorts. But corn snake, beautiful corn snake. And I would tease my wife constantly of, hey, you have this thing, you have a choice. Name it or eat it. That was kind of always our little thing. If you're going to have a pet, you have to name the pet. You name it, you give it its personality. Well, not necessarily personality, but you've added it to your family. It gets named. It's no longer this living thing that you don't care one way or the other about. Now it's part of the family. You've named it. You've saned it. That's kind of the term that's given within our religion, is saning. So we had this. We named it Copper because it looks, its coat, its scales, its colorings look a lot like the soil, especially in a nice sunny day, or during the sunset when the sun is hitting the mountains just right in Bisbee, Arizona. And for those of you who have never been to Bisbee, Arizona used to be home to one of the largest copper mines in our country. A lot of our money, our pennies, and other things that had copper mixed into it came out of there at one time, as well as a lot of other things. Some of you may even have cookware, if you have antique cookware, that's kind of lasted through the ages, been handed down because it's rather sturdy, but the copper bottomed and cast iron type cookware that a lot of times, like I said, it's so sturdy it gets handed down from generation to generation. If you have some that was made back in the 1800s, the copper very well could have come from Bisbee, Arizona. And it's a beautiful town if you ever get a chance to visit. If you ever go to tour Arizona, yeah, I know you're going to go up north to the northern border and look at the big hole in the ground, which is also beautiful. But if you head down to the southern area of Arizona, south of Tucson, southeast of Tucson, you have Tombstone, which of course is famous in its own right and a great town to visit. Go to Allen Street and check it out. Good piece of history there. Some things that you may have never known about the truth of what happened in Tombstone that the movies don't necessarily portray. As well as how the town got its name, which is an interesting story too. Tale for another time. But you go south of Tombstone, about a 15-20 minute ride, if even. Depends on traffic and how many cops are out. I'll be honest, because usually there aren't any, and the traffic is relatively thin. And if you can handle mountain roads, you can handle pushing past the posted speed limits. Not that I would advocate such a thing, but average driving time at speed limit about 15 minutes. South, you can head to Bisbee. Bisbee has its own history, and if you happen to visit Arizona, I suggest you visit Bisbee. Well, we didn't want to name the snake Bisbee. I'm sorry, it just wasn't. It wasn't a choice. But copper, after the copper coloring in the soil in that area, which is still there, you can see it in the mountains. It's very pretty. That's what we chose the name for our corn snake, is Copper. Well, Copper, because of the nice, super cold, thanks global warming, doesn't exist, folks. But because of the cold that we got hit, the unseasonable cold, Copper this winter had some spells where he wasn't eating as regularly as normal. And he had gotten to the size where we're getting him one full-size live mouse and one what they call a hopper, which is kind of like a teenager. And of course, because we know the way creatures are in nature, they will go after the weaker ones first, and they kind of call the herd. And it's kind of the way that's, in the design of nature, kind of call the herd there. So in order to make sure our snake would eat the adult mouse, not just eat the small one and not bother, we would always feed the adult mouse first. And once he got that down, we'd feed him the teenager. Well, one time he ate the adult, and we put the teenager in there, and he was hungry enough to eat it. He was trying to get at it, but this little hopper, this little teenage mouse, decided that he wanted to survive, and he didn't fight the snake. Thank the gods, because he may have hurt it. And we always watch that too. But he climbed the enclosure and hung onto the ceiling, or went to the top of a little tree-like thing that we have in there, or hung onto the screen on the side, and survived for longer than he should have, a lot longer than he should have. So we figured, okay, the snake's not going to eat the mouse at this point. So we took it out, and we had Copper's old aquarium tank from when he was smaller, and we put the mouse in there with some food and some water. I figured, okay, next week when it comes feeding time, we'll just buy one mouse and feed him this other one. Well, we kept him in there, and then we eventually named this feeder mouse, named him Marshmallow, and he held on for a while. And then wife and I finally just figured, okay, it stayed this long, we're just going to treat it as a pet. So we decided we were going to buy it a little running wheel, and a feeding a water bottle thing that drips down, and all the stuff you get for rodent type pets. We bought that stuff, and as soon as we came back from the pet store, there was a mouse laying there dead. Mind you, this is a couple of weeks later, because Copper had shed after eating that one mouse, and when he's shedding, he doesn't eat. So the next week, when it was feeding time, we just didn't go and buy any food because we knew he wasn't going to eat. So wait till the week afterwards. So this mouse had lived 2 weeks, and one of the weeks we didn't treat him the greatest. We didn't treat him like a pet. He was food, right? But then the day we decided he was going to be a pet, he died. So we didn't want to upset our daughter, because she had started to get a little bit attached to the mouse. So what we did was we attempted to feed the now dead Marshmallow. Well, yeah, we actually did. We heated him up and fed him to Copper, as well as the adult mouse. But we kept the new hopper, the second hopper we bought, the one that was supposed to be fed that day, and we named him Marshmallow too, or Snot Marshmallow. And he lived for about a week, or it was maybe 2 weeks. I forget the exact timing. But the wife and I would sit there and try to pet him and everything, and treat him like he was a pet. He started nibbling at our fingernails and stuff when we'd reach in there and try to play with him or give him food or whatever. So he started getting mean. So we figured, yeah, we're done. So we cleaned out the cage, or the tank,